November 19, 2024. The Bayraktar TB3 took off from TCG Anadolu, flew its mission, and landed back on the ship. Autonomously. No arresting wires, no catapults, just folding wings and AI-powered precision. This is the world's first combat drone designed for carrier operations. Turkey just beat the United States, China, and every other navy to the future of naval warfare. And they did it with a ship that cost $1 billion, not $13 billion like a United States carrier. This is how they did it. In July 2019, Turkey was ejected from the F-35 fighter program. The decision came after Ankara insisted on acquiring Russian S-400 air defense systems, defying repeated warnings from Washington and NATO partners. The fallout was immediate and costly. At the center of the storm stood TCG Anadolu, a 232-meter, 27,000-ton warship built to launch F-35B jump jets from its ski jump deck. With no aircraft to fly, the ship's $1 billion price tag began to look like a national embarrassment. On April 10, 2023, Anadolu was commissioned into the Turkish Navy. The ceremony was grand, flags waving and speeches promising a new era of maritime power. But below the surface, the reality was stark. The ship's hangars and flight deck, designed for up to 10 F-35Bs, stood empty. Years of planning, engineering, and investment now risked going to waste. Critics at home and abroad questioned the wisdom of pouring so much money into a vessel with no suitable air wing. For the Turkish presidency and the Ministry of Defense, the challenge was clear: either find a new purpose for Anadolu or accept a billion-dollar symbol of lost opportunity. The leadership faced a dilemma with no easy answers. Buy foreign aircraft that might never be delivered? Scrap the ship's aviation ambitions altogether? Or attempt something that had never been done before, turn an idle amphibious assault ship into the world's first carrier built around drones? The stakes were high, and the solution would demand a leap of engineering, industry, and imagination. Baykar's engineers faced a puzzle that had stumped shipbuilders for decades: how to fit a fixed-wing strike aircraft on a vessel never meant for jets. The answer came not from adding more steel or engines, but from geometry. The Bayraktar TB3 was designed with wings that fold sharply along reinforced hinges, shrinking its 14-meter wingspan to half that size for storage. This single feature allowed TCG Anadolu's cramped hangars, originally sized for a handful of F-35Bs, to stow up to 30 drones below deck, with space for dozens more on the flight deck. The folding mechanism relies on corrosion-resistant alloys and hydraulic locks, tested across 1,167 hours at sea without a single reported hinge failure. The engineering team, led by Selçuk Bayraktar, built each wing joint to withstand the shocks of carrier landings and the relentless salt spray of the Mediterranean. Maintenance crews run regular rinse cycles to keep the mechanism free from corrosion. But the real proof came with the TB3's first flight on October 27, 2023. The prototype lifted off from a land runway, wings extended, carrying a 280 kilograms payload, enough for 6 MAM-L guided munitions or 2 heavier MAM-Ts. Endurance tests soon followed: 24 hours in the air on a single tank, then a record sortie lasting 32 hours and covering 5,700 kilometers by December. By solving the deck space problem with folding geometry, Baykar validated the TB3 not just as a drone, but as a true carrier aircraft. The design success set the stage for the next challenge, proving it could survive the sea and land on a moving ship. On November 19, 2024, Bayraktar TB3 lifts off from the ski jump deck of TCG Anadolu, climbing out over the Gulf of Saros. For 46 minutes, the prototype circles at 20,000 feet, its telemetry streaming back to a bank of monitors below deck. There is no pilot on board, no catapult, no arrestor wires waiting to catch it. Just a drone, a moving ship, and a block of code running vision-based artificial intelligence, watching the deck through wing-mounted cameras. As the ship pitches gently in the swell, the TB3 begins its approach. Onboard computers process the shifting outline of the carrier, drawing digital boundaries around the deck in real time. Electro-optical sensors feed the AI a constant stream of images, edges, angles, shadows, and the system calculates the glide path, adjusting for deck motion and crosswinds. There is no human hand on the stick, only a safety pilot at the console, ready to intervene but never needed. The drone flares over the ramp, touches down, and brakes to a halt using its own wheels. No landing gear is snatched by wires, no launch gear is reset for the next sortie. The entire sequence is logged. Altitude, speed, touchdown angle, telemetry that proves the concept works. 4 sorties are flown that day, each one fully autonomous, each one a first in naval aviation. The flight test director's voice comes over the radio. Recovery complete. No anomalies. In a single afternoon, the TB3 demonstrates that a fixed-wing combat drone can operate from a ship designed for manned jets without any of the traditional launch or recovery systems. The money spent on Anadolu is no longer sunk cost. The world's first drone carrier has just become operational reality. Across the first year of shipboard trials, the TB3 logged 101 sorties and 1,167 flight hours from TCG Anadolu's deck, a pace few expected from an uncrewed system. Carrier crew and weapons teams refined every cycle, prepping drones in the hangar, moving them to the ski jump, and launching into the Aegean with no catapults or wires to reset. On November 15, 2025, the system crossed a new threshold. 3 TB3s armed with MAML-guided munitions executed a coordinated strike on a naval target range, each drone scoring a direct hit. This was not a demonstration. It was an operational mission, recorded in the ship's log as a live-fire event. The deck team cycled through launches and recoveries with minimal downtime, validating that Anadolu could sustain combat tempo, not just staged tests. Sortie logs show a tempo of up to 15 launches per hour, with drones able to loiter for up to 24 hours before recovery. No major mechanical failures or hinge faults were reported across the first 100 sorties, and the folding wing design proved reliable even in rough seas. For every milestone Anadolu reached, the crew documented lessons, deck handling, maintenance routines, AI landing tweaks, feeding them back into Baykar's engineering loop. While Anadolu's TB3s racked up operational hours, the U.S. Navy's MQ-25 drone tanker program remained in prototype testing, with initial carrier integration now projected for 2026 or later. China's GJ-11 had yet to complete a fixed-wing drone landing on its Fujian-class carrier. On Anadolu, the numbers spoke for themselves. A $1 billion ship and a homegrown drone had achieved what no other navy had managed on a short-deck carrier. The result was not just proof of concept. It was a battle-ready system, one that could sustain real-world combat operations at sea. TCG Anadolu's design traces its roots to the Spanish Juan Carlos I class, but every line of its hull was redrawn for Turkish ambitions. At 232 meters long and displacing 27,000 tons, Anadolu is built for more than just show. Its flight deck measures 5,440 square meters, stretching nearly the length of 2 football fields, and is capped by a ski jump ramp that was originally meant for F-35B fighters but now serves as a launch platform for drones. Below deck, the ship can carry up to 1,200 troops and 150 vehicles. Amphibious assault remains in its DNA. What sets Anadolu apart is its geometry. The wide, flat deck and open hangars, inherited from amphibious doctrine, create the perfect stage for massed drone operations. This is not a supercarrier, but its layout makes it uniquely suited to launch, recover, and service dozens of unmanned aircraft at a fraction of the cost and crew required by nuclear giants. In February 2025, Indonesia signed a contract for 60 Bayraktar TB3 drones, securing joint production rights and technology transfer as part of a larger $10 billion defense package that includes the Turkish Ka-an fighter. The deal reflects a shift. Indonesia chose TB3s over Chinese alternatives, citing proven combat records and the promise of local assembly. Turkish planners now see export as a core pillar, not just a bonus. By 2030, projections call for a fleet of over 100 carrier-capable drones across Anadolu and the next-generation MUGM supercarrier, whose keel is due to be laid in August 2025. Meanwhile, Baykar's jet-powered Kizilelma is slated for carrier trials the same year, aiming to push unmanned naval aviation even further. A carrier built for $1 billion, launching dozens of drones instead of a handful of stealth jets, changes the math for every navy not named America or China. The drone plus ski jump formula delivers persistent strike and reconnaissance at a fraction of the cost and crew, making carrier air power accessible to countries that could never dream of affording a Ford-class or Fujian. For the price of a single nuclear supercarrier, over a dozen Anadolu-type ships could be built and operated, each one fielding 30 to 50 unmanned aircraft, with endurance measured in days, not hours. This is not just about saving money, it is about multiplying options. Indonesia's order for 60 TB3s and a local assembly line signals that the model works beyond Turkey's borders. Mid-tier navies now have a template. Skip the $13 billion club, field a drone carrier for 1/13 the price, and still deliver credible air power at sea. TCG Anadolu is not the biggest carrier. It is not the most advanced, but it proved carrier aviation does not belong to superpowers anymore. Turkey was kicked out of the F-35 club, so they built their own club, and now the whole world wants to join. Carrier aviation is no longer just a game for trillion-dollar budgets or exclusive alliances. Autonomous drones and $1 billion ships redraw the map for every navy, right now. TCG Anadolu is not the biggest carrier. It is not the most advanced, but it proved carrier aviation does not belong to superpowers anymore. Turkey was kicked out of the F-35 program, so they built their own club, and now the whole world wants to join.